Hello there, Bic Benedict here. We're playing God of War 3 Remastered on Chaos difficulty, and this is my Pain Plus guide and walkthrough. We're currently on Installment the ninth. It is entitled City of Olympia. Welcome back to the walkthrough. There is a longish scene with Gaia up ahead, which I did everybody the courtesy of skipping, so we don't have to wait for all of that to happen because it takes quite a long time. So there's going to be a crossfade as we roll up the street and then approach the door to Olympia. This is a pretty difficult trial, but what I don't like about it is the fact that every time you reset, you have to watch the Legionnaires, the lights come on, and then it pans over to the guy coming up the cliff. And that's all before you have to look at the message for a bit. And then after you kill one enemy, it stops everything, and then it pans up to the Legionnaire whose eyes go dim. So this is mainly difficult because there's whelps here, and sometimes you can't necessarily ascertain very well how close a dog is, especially when you're in this kind of position. Sometimes the dog looks like he's a little bit further from the Legionnaire that he ends up being, and then it's one of those instances where Kratos will not grab the dog, but he'll grab the Legionnaire, and he'll get that stunned animation, which is really obnoxious. So what I would do is I start off killing the most obvious enemy, the one that comes up the cliff. I just roll over to him, grapple him off the cliff. Be very careful of the siren song of O buttons over enemies where other enemies are around. The main thing, these fucking dogs, guys. I fucking hate these dogs. In a perfect world, I would love to try to use the dogs to ring out the Legionnaires, but it just doesn't work that well. I mean, it happens. It happens, and it's more than just occasionally that it happens. It happens quite a bit. It's very easy to ring enemies out in this installment. Every time from now on, we're just going to be ringing enemies out. But the dogs incorporated with these enemies, it just makes for kind of a bad time. So you really need to grab the dogs and have them be your first priority, because they can get to you faster than the Legionnaires can. So you need to double back when you have to, and just grab the dogs when it's safe to grab the dogs. But also be careful for, like I said, that siren song of the O button popping up, and you get so excited, because you get to grab one, hit others, maybe ring some people out like that. But try to be as cautious as you can, because it can end in you're getting hit. See, like right there, I was definitely tempted to do that. You know what I like about this enemy though? It loses its armor and it changes its appearance so that it's in a weakened state. I wish all of the enemies did that, in fact. So, like on the Hades Cerberus breeder fight, when you're fighting the two satyrs, and it's hard to tell, maybe even impossible sometimes, what satyr has what amount of HP, which one should I go after. I would love it if they would just lose some armor or have some marks over their body, something like that. I don't want damage numbers in God of War. This, as soon as you do that, it starts to become a different game. And I think let it maybe be an option. I'm not sure, but there are other runs that you can do. You can do a run with Athena's blades, and even though unfortunately they come maxed out, you don't have the ability to do the combat grapple with those, so it makes the experience a bit different. And Zeus is more difficult when you use Athena's blades, because you can't grapple him in the air and stuff like that. launch and grapple up to him and do different things. But that was a pretty quick fight. I usually don't get it done in like 5 minutes. Usually it takes me a little bit more, but that just goes to show you how quickly things can get accomplished when you use the mechanic of ringing folks out. Okay, so this is called a Harpy Queen, and we're going to use her for traversal, and this works really well actually. The next fight is broken up into 2 sections. There's five Legionnaires on the first wave, and it's really peculiar, and I don't really know why they did this, but for this one time in the game, this Legionnaire has the ability, and it's not these guys, it's the ones that come on wave 2. They have the ability to do a it's a projectile, but it's ground based, and it's like a flash of light on the ground, and it has a good bit of traveling distance to it as well. And I just don't understand why just this one occasion these 5 or so enemies have that ability, and they never have it again. And there's no separate entry for a different type of Legionnaire. It's just one Legionnaire. But anyway, if you didn't know, you can actually ring this centaur out. So if you come over here, stay over here, let him approach you, do the quick time event, try not to fall off with him, but that always makes me laugh. But yeah, that is not hard to do at all. Just make sure that you're over there. Do you see how the wall's so broken? It's kind of obvious that you can do that. And then just clear everybody else off. Be really careful. You can do the combat grapple with safety, and then triangle also is really good to knock them off. But you need to watch out for, don't triangle them and then combat grapple them in the air, because then you'll go flying off. I'm not sure how I didn't fall off there, but I didn't. So that's... Oh, there's also one guy over here. See, they have that move. Why do you have that move? Just the one time. It's very strange. Also, just in case you wanted to know a bit of trivia, there are some citizens, like 6 citizens that you pass by as you come up here. They go down into the fighting arena where we just were, and to kill them, the game spawns 3 more Legionnaires. So if you're interested in doing that fight, you can go down there and do it. Okay, the Chimera, Phase 1, is just going to be TST whoring. I might do square, square, triangle at the beginning because it's quicker, and I don't want him to hit me or poison me. No, we start... Oh, yeah, I moved. But, yeah, this phase is very simple. Phase 2 is not very difficult either. Now, I have some advice for you on Phase 3. I'm going to be showing it to you on the Gates of Tisiphone too when we fight the 2 Chimera over there. And unfortunately I wasn't able to show it on this take because I didn't get the enemy to do it. But if you can get Phase 3 over to the right, not this phase, but the next phase. Do you see where I am now? Over to the right even more. If you can get him trapped over there, you can come all the way to the left and put him off of the camera, but leave a little bit of his body on the camera, and he'll get trapped in this flinching back and forth movement where he can't decide what to do, and you can trap him that way, just like you can trap the ones on the Gates of Tisiphone. So this phase is pretty much just spirit whoring. Always use triangle for your attack. You're not going to be able to get TST on this guy very easily, so you should just do T and then a few S's. So I wish that I could show it off. I kind of do it at one point. It's really easy to do, and once you have him trapped like that, you can use the 3T attack. I'm sorry, we don't have that, but you can do the Spirit of Hercules, Spirit Whoring, and if you can't quite reach him, see how he's doing this right now? I'm just talking about on the other side, have him do that. And you're going to have to manipulate the camera just to keep a little bit of his body. Just keep some of his hands and his head on the screen. And you'll be able to keep him there, spirit horror, and have done with him. I wish I could have done it, honestly. I mean, I was kind of doing it right there. See that? That's exactly what I'm talking about. And also, after you press the 5 squares and you're going to press your triangle attack, the game does give you a fairly generous allowance for you to move in the direction of the enemy if you're too far away from him before you do the finisher. Okay, so if you are spirit whoring and he's a little bit too far from you, do the 5 squares, advance a little bit, and then press triangle. Just in case you didn't know, you could have some pretty decent movement options. Trapped. And see, why can't you trap him at other places? It's just that over there to the right, it's the safest place to do it. I hope you're enjoying the walkthrough. We're going to go all the way up to Helios at the end of the video, and then the next video should be the path of Eos, and that is a hard video. There's some difficult fights there. I got really lucky over here. Anyway, I am going to include, I got really lucky, like 3 separate times there. During the Helios encounter, you can get hit when he does his flash of light. If you aren't completely accurate when you're trying to block the sun out of your eyes, you do take a little bit of damage. So that's the reason why I'm going to include it in the video. And the path of Eos is really difficult because there's a fight with harpies in the dark. And as you know, we don't use the solar flare. We can't use solar flare because it's too powerful. But I wanted to ask some folks here just to throw this question out, and you don't have to answer, but if you want to, I'd appreciate, other people's feedback. But when you first played God of War 3 and they introduced you to this harpy agitation method, did you think it was kind of clunky? Did you think it was not that good or well made? Because that's how I kind of felt at first. I thought it was really awkward and clunky, and I couldn't get it to work very well. But now that I've played this game so much, I have to give them credit for a really original, like an interesting way of crossing chasms that works. I'm not going to say that it works impeccably, but it works really well. A lot better than you would even think. And it's really dependable too. Anyway, that's just my opinion of it. You might detest it. But yeah, just ring out time for these guys. And then the fight inside, I will be skipping. Because some fights, if it's just some grunts, I know there's a lot of enemies over here, but it's just, I didn't really find it too appetizing, so I left. It's funny though, because they all will follow you out here and you can have the fight right here. This is one of the scenes that they showed at the beginning of the game in that cutscene that you can't skip, because no cutscenes can be skipped in these games. Okay. Up until now, though, we haven't seen any Cyclopses, have we? The next one up here is a Berserker. This guy is just such a pushover, it's not even funny. There's Helios there. A phalanx of Onyx Shield Sentinels will jump down to protect him. And what I don't like about this, though, is that there is a period of waiting time before this thing jumps down. Now you might say, well, that was like 1 second of waiting time. Well, the power of editing is what happened right there. There was like 10 seconds of you having to stand there to wait for this thing. even off checkpoints. But I love how he takes so long to do his taunt after he slams his foot down. There's so much time to fuck him up. And I probably shouldn't say bad words, actually, because YouTube has this ad suitability nonsense to it now where it limits your ads if you curse. So I don't know how to feel about that too much, but I thought that a long time ago it was a lot easier to upload a video. Now it seems like there's a lot of red tape attached to it. But this is a scenario that you should recognize if you have played the trial called Knockout in the Challenges of Olympus. It controls like shit. And hopefully we don't have much to do down here. Yeah, I think we pretty much took care of everybody. Why did that happen right there? Sometimes the game messes up and it lets you drag him down perpetually. It happens sometimes. Anyway, so that has been City of Olympia. We are going to be going into the caves next, and it's going to be quite dark, and there are some really difficult fights. As I said, some where you really can't see much at all, so you have to rely on your instincts and your aptitude rather than having the luxury of light. Even though your blades do make light, and there are other light sources, but it's pretty uniformly dark. With that, we have come to a close for installment the 9th. I am going to see you in the 10th installment. We will be in the path of Eos, and until we see each other again, I would ask that you would continue to take care if you would, and I thank you so much for your patronage of the walkthrough, and I am hoping that it helps you out with whatever you need it to. So, again, please take care.
You lie, Helios! Hephaestus told me the flame kills all who touch it.
And you believe him? That freak has fallen from the graces of Olympus!
That is exactly why I believe him.
My death will not lead you to Zeus.
That is where you are wrong.